Okay, so let me write this. I'm going to create the first scenario. Let me just write this real quick. All right, so we just want to use this to just work, right? Now, let's read. We said the bootcamp wants to track students' enrollment and performance for the past cohort. Now, as a data analyst, you work on a table that records each student's scores, updates records, remove some records, and analyze some results. Now, so what we can do is we can create a table, right? Simply, we can use the create table syntax, and we can call this, let's say, student performance table. Now, when you create a table, of course, what you want to put inside is the columns and the data types for that columns. And of course, if you want any other restrictions, you can set it here, right? So we can say performance ID, make this a serial. We all know what a serial data type is. It ensures that this column automatically generates itself and it implements itself also. So that is what a serial data type is. Then we'll make this a primary key because it's good that every table has a primary key. Now, we'll create another table called student ID. We'll make this integer, right? We can create another, we can say track ID, integer. Then we can say a score. A score, we can make a score decimal data type. And we just give it, let's say 5,2. So 5 digits, but 2 decimal places, right? Now we can come here and create a type, a custom type. If we want to, we can say create type. Can say create type. We can say, let's call this status check. So I'm creating a custom data type. Status check is not a built-in SQL data type, right? But I'm just creating this as enum, and I'll give it values as, let's say, completed, or I can say incomplete or incomplete. So what this means is this data type, these are the values for this data type. So any column that I apply this data type to will only accept two possible values, which is completed and incomplete, right? So let me run this now. And let me refresh this. We should see the status check. I didn't even know there's a data type called status. So status check. So now if I want to use this here, I can come here and say, create a column called completion status. Then the data type can now be status check as the data type, right? Because I've done it. I can as well use varchar for this column. But if I use varchar, what that means is any value can be accepted. That's what it means. But if I'm using an enum data type, the values that can be imputed in that column is restricted. We can only have the options that have been set. Aliyah, well done. Well done. Then let's say we can have a quote. Here I can use varchar. Let's put 20. Okay. Let's varchar. Let's put 20. Um, Now, is there anyone who don't understand or who don't understand what we are doing here? Let's look at this. Read the question or read the task and look at what we've done so far. Is there anyone who don't understand what we're doing?
Sorry, sir, your voice is not audible.
It is not audible. Is there anyone who is having such
Yes, sir.
issues? Is there anyone who is having similar issues? Probably you can't hear me clearly.
So I'm having similar issues.
Okay, so two people. Any other person? Okay, I'll try to speak. I'll try to speak louder. Well, my question is there anyone who don't understand what we're trying to do here? Anybody? Okay, so I want to believe you understand what we're trying to do, right? You can see the case study, right? You can see the case study. So that makes sense, right? So we can create, let's say, we can add one more column and call it, let's say, exam date. Let's just make this date data type. Now, we can make foreign keys. We can just say foreign key, right? And we would use the student ID as the first foreign key. It will reference, let's see, the student table, and it will reference the primary key of that student table, which is student ID, I believe. And we can just put it here on delete cascade and on update cascade. So on delete cascade, then on update cascade, right? On delete cascade, on update cascade. Then I can just copy this and paste it here for second foreign key, which is track ID. So this reference the tracks table because I have a table called tracks, as you can see here, and to reference the primary key of that tracks table, which is this track ID. So we have used integer, we have used decimal, we have used varchar, we have used dates. The other data types that exist in SQL, but these are just what we'll just stick with for now. We'll just stick with these ones for now, right? So this is quite clear. I believe everybody understands what we're doing here. So I'm going to run this now. Hopefully we should have that table. So if I should refresh my tables, now I should have 5 tables, should I? Okay, so I'm not having 5 tables. Why is that? Let me see. I don't know, this thing has a way of not responding. I think it's a panel issue anyways. Okay, it's not responding. So let me just do this. I'll just create a new query tool, And I don't know if that is an issue with Postgres. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it in the new query tool and run this again. Okay, so I have an error. Now, who can help me with the error? Look at the screen. Can you see the screen? Who can help me with the error?
There is a comma on delete cascade, on update cascade. The last one.
Thank you very much.
Line 21.
So you can see it now. So it's important that, errors will happen when you're running codes or when you're running your queries. It is normal. Even an experienced analyst who uses SQL or who uses any other tool will have errors. But your ability to read the error, understand the error, and try and fix it is what makes you a better analyst. Right? Is what makes you a better analyst. So I believe we all understand what's it called? This error and how to fix it. So I'm just going to delete this. Where's it again? Yeah. So let me run this again. And let's run it and we'll see. Okay, so this works fine. So let me refresh my tables. So you can see 5. Right? And I think this is good. So we all understand this. No one having issues with this. Good. Like I said, we won't just practice what we've done. So I'm going to comment this. I want to believe we all know how to use the custom data type. And we all know when to use it. It is not a must that you have a custom data type in your table. It is just, what's it called? It is just, what's the word? Situational, right? It depends on when you want to use it, that kind of thing, right? Now, there is no, this cohort, let's say I want to make cohort, let's say a table. I can make cohort a table. But what would that table contain? Let's say cohort 1, maybe the cohort's name, right? Maybe the cohort's date, that kind of thing, and other things, right? That is what probably that would contain if you want to, but I don't think for now we can just um so let's see. We can create that, but that's not what to do. I'll create some scenarios. Then just work. So let's say I want to create a cohort table, right? I can just do create table, cohort, then so this should have even been student performances. I think I told you before, your table name should be plural. ID should be plural. Then this thing should be or students performances. So this should be this. So what can I do? If I want to do this before I create the tables, I can just alter the table, right? I can alter the table. What table am I altering? The student performance table. So what command will I want to use here when I alter the table? What command do I want to use here? Who wants to help us? Anybody?
Sorry, sir. Command do what? After you want to add a column?
I want to change the table name because ideally it should be plural.
Rename?
I think, rename.
The name. Thank you very much. Right? Thank you very much. So we can just now. This is now considering it's the table itself we are working with, and not, let's say, the column, right? Oh, excuse me, please. Just excuse me. So, please. Hello? 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 Am I? Yeah, I can hear you. I'm at home now. It's fine. It's okay. No problem. No problem. It's fine. Okay, can you guys hear me, please? Hello, can you guys hear me,
Yes,
please?
sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Use the alter table student performance. Then we say rename. Now, what are we renaming? We are renaming we can say rename to students, that's plural, column, that's called performance. Now let's see this. Now, if I refresh my tables, can you see this, guys, that it has changed?
Well, Mr. Dams, you know, write the S at the end of the student's performance.
No, there is S
For
on top of
students
students.
now.
It's now students, plural.
Okay.
Do we see this now?
Yes, sir.
So, because if you are dealing with the table schema, the table schema is the table itself or the column names. Then you want to alter the table. But if you are dealing with the records, then you want to use update or delete. Right? So take note of that. Now, we've done this. Okay, Anna is coming in. So this makes sense, right? We all understand this. Now, I'm just going to comment this. And I'm going to put it up. So I believe we all understand this, right? Makes sense. Now, so I want to create a new table. I'll call this cohort. This table will just contain, let's say, information about the cohort. Nothing much, nothing big, right? So we can say create a cohort. Then, now I want to make this cohort. Remember, plural, don't forget, plural. I'll terminate the query. So you can see, good practice. It's not as if you don't terminate the query won't run. It will still run, but it's just good practice, which you need to build and cultivate. So we can say cohort ID, right? Cohort ID. Now, another way I want you guys to know that we can create serial or auto increment is using identity. Identity, right? So let me show you our identity is more flexible than serial. Yeah, it's more flexible than serial. Anna, welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
So if you want, instead of going to use serial, I can just use integer here. right? I can use integer here, then I can say identity. This is another way of writing like auto increment. Now, if I put in brackets here, I say 1, 1. I say 1, 1. Right? 1, 1. What this is doing is, okay, before we run it, let me just finish it. Then I make it a family. Right? So I can say after quotes, let's just put quote ID, quote. We give it a name, or let's just say description, or what quote is this? This quote 2. All right. Okay. Let's just say quote name. Let's just put that quote name. Voucher. Of course, we use voucher here. Then let's say date, the date of the quote. Right. Let's just have these 3 columns. Quote date. Then we use date data type. Right. Now, if we run this, let's see. Okay, so this is failing. Let me see why it is failing. Syntax error near identity. Is it identity or identity? Let me see that. Okay, I think it's not just identity. It might be, let me see. Yeah, integer generated always. It's just long method. I think, yeah, as identity. I think it's generated always as identity. So this is like an old way of writing it, just identity. So if we do it this way, what this does is that it creates the auto increment feature, right? If you do it this way, generated always as identity. So let me run this and see if this should work fine. But of course, I mean, serial is, what's the word, straightforward. But just know that you can also do it this way. So how do we identify the flexibility of identity? How is it more flexible compared to serial? We can specify the number it should start from, right? Like you can say, okay, start from this, then end with this. Start from this, and let's say we can say auto increment with, let's say, auto increment with 10. So if we say start from, let's say 5, auto increment with 10, what that means is the starting record, the primary key for starting record will be 5. Then the next record will be 15. Because it went to my 10. Next record will be 25. Next record will be 35, and just keeping increment like that. So we can say start with, let's say, 2, increment by, let's say, 4. I'm just giving an example. So let me show you what I'm talking about so you get it. Let me drop this column. If I want to drop a column, I can just say, let's say drop table. What table are we dropping? What we want? I want you guys to see this. If I should run this, no, not this. So if we refresh this now, you can see the quote is no longer existing. Now, so that you will see what we're talking about here, that's quote ID integer generated always as identity. So when we are doing this, we are saying auto increment, I want to use identity data type. Now we can come here and say, start with, let me say 100. Start with 100. Then increment. Start with 100, increment by 5. From what I explained, what does this mean? This means that the starting record will be 100, and as it increments itself, it will be incremented by what? 5. We can say increment by 1, that is fine. And if we don't put it, it will just start with 1, which is the default distance, then increment by 1. But if you want to increment with, let's say, 5 or any other thing, if you want to make it more flexible, you can do it this way. So let's run this and see. Let's run this and see. Okay, so let's refresh our tables. We should have 6 tables now. This thing I found it again. I'm sick and tired of this. Sorry, please. Let me run it here. Let's see if this works. It seems my Postgres stuff usually sleep. Oh, goodness me. I really don't know why this is happening now. And I need to really sort it out. Okay, let me just save this. Sorry. Let me just save this. I'll label it revision class. I'll label it revision class. Please, just as we know before, if this link expires, let's come back on the meeting using the same link. So let me run this here, and okay, so we're having an error. What's the error? Cohort dates. It says error near syntax error near cohort dates. So let me see.
Sorry, Mr. Dams, I don't think you highlighted everything.
Yes, I'm not highlighting because there's just a single query there. If we have multiple different queries, then we can highlight. Do you understand?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true.
It's
Sorry.
just one query that is here. We don't need to highlight. Highlighting is to let the Postgres know this is the query you should run because there are multiple queries there, but focus on this one. Okay, so what is the error? Who can debug the error? What are we missing here? What are we missing here?
I think there's supposed to be a comma at the end of that date, right?
No, that's the last one. Usually the last one don't have dates. No, it has dates. It has dates. It doesn't have comma, I mean. The last one. Who can help us with that? Why are we having an error there? Anybody? Okay. Let's see. Syntax error at or near cohort dates. Cohort ID int generated always as identity. Start with 100, increment by 5, then we have primary key, right? That one is that is just how it should be. That's how it should be. Let me see, what am I missing? Funny enough, I'm not even seeing the error there because looks okay to me. Let me see. So what's this? Okay. I'm thinking it's from this place. Let me just look at it. Okay, let me remove this first. Perhaps this might be the cause. I might be wrong, but let me just see. Identity. Let me run this. Sorry. Okay, so that was actually the issue. Interesting. That's interesting. So, but there is a way we can make this. I have to go and check that out. we can actually have that, okay, six tables. So that works fine. That was the issue. There's a way we can, what's the word, make it, we can have a start value and an increment value. So after this session ends, we'll come in the next session and we'll continue from this. As you've seen, there are two ways to create primary
Mr.
series
Adams,
or auto increments.